I am Grace Komalafe, welcoming you to Across Borders, where we talk topical issues that impact us as a people. Today, we're exploring one of the most powerful forces shaping Africa's future, and that is internal migration. Every day, millions of Africans move from rural to urban areas across state lines and within regional blocks, searching for safety, economic opportunity, and better living conditions. These movements are redefining Africa's cities, transforming rural communities, influencing labor markets, and creating new development debates. On this episode of Across Borders, we will examine Africans and their need for movement and what these movements mean for the continent economically, socially, and strategically. To have this conversation, we are joined by Lailla Mutajogera, a Pan-African investment connector based in Uganda. She is the CEO of Muta Investment firm, where she links investors to opportunities across Africa in critical sectors such as infrastructure, real estate, and mining. Now, in setting that context, I want to ask, what, in your own view, are the biggest drivers of internal migration? Please talk to us.
Yes, thank you so much for your question. The internet immigration is the biggest boost for that is shaping Africa right now. It's not just numbers, but it's also about the people, but also what is helping those people in long term. When you look at it, it's not just immigration; it's that the people moving to the cities, the people moving to other African countries. And the reason why they're doing it is because they are looking for better opportunities, they are looking for jobs, they are looking for better schools for their children. Most importantly, also, they are looking to create more opportunities for others, either investors or investing in some opportunities or creating businesses. So this is a very interesting topic to talk about because it's shaping and also one of the place that right now it's forcing uh, the economy to go up every day for African people, but also as an African.
How do economic and climate pressures intersect to push people from rural area into city?
Yeah, it affects it in both sides, both positive way and negative way. When you look at positive way, yes, they are moving out to look for the opportunities. But when they reach the other side, where they are coming from, most of the time you find that we are losing a lot of youth in those areas where they are coming from. But on other side, when we look at the positive way, it's forcing the economy to grow. You know, when people move where they move, the market moves as well. The growth of the market, the infrastructure, the growth of the economy, but also we should not forget that where they're coming from, there's also now the loss of their people, and especially when it comes to agribusiness and agriculture, we are also losing a lot of youth because everyone wants now to come to urban center.
Africa's urban centers are expanding rapidly, and I want to ask that what are the economic opportunities, cities offer that rural areas are failing to provide?
Yeah, that's a very good question. When you look at it, when look at the city and also a lot of countries right now, I've also decided even to add more cities. When you look at Rwanda has added a city called Innovation City. When you look at Kenya, they have added a city called Tattoo City. And the reason why is because those cities are building and also creating opportunities uh, for everyone, for schools, for infrastructure, as I mentioned, but also mostly for housing. And it's both sides for investors and also the business people who are doing business in those cities. They are creating opportunity for people, but most importantly, also they are benefiting because of those businesses. But also for people who are coming in, you always find better schools, better education in the urban center. We always find good housing, but also better opportunities and better jobs that are paying well. And also, when you look at it in general, it's opportunity for everyone. And because most of urban center are built to grow the economy, you find everything, and it's easy for you as a person who is living there, that you can easily access the school, can easily access the clean loads or the loads. So it's opportunity for everyone in both sides in business, but also for people who lives there.
Do you think adding more states will be a good development rather than concentrated on the states, the cities? I meant to say, the cities you already have, put enough of development, make sure they are well equipped, infrastructure based, you have things done, rather than adding more cities. Because you will agree with me that there are some countries that are still struggling, that are still trying to, be there, ensure that things are put in place. Do you think adding more states or cities is the way to go? Is part of development and that you think is needed?
So statistically, when you look at it, I'll just give you numbers on that side. It looks like around 2050, a half of the population will be living in urban center. What does it mean? It means also from 5 to 7% of the population growth is increasing every year or in the city. And the reason why I think also the countries are saying that let's add more cities, it's more of the planning way and the secure way to say let's create more opportunities, the opportunities for investors, the opportunities for entrepreneurs, most importantly the opportunities for people who are looking for jobs. Of course there are many people who are benefiting from that. That's uh, people who are building businesses there. There are people who are creating hospitals. And so it's more of creating more opportunities for the countries. And also, yes, you are right. Is it a good thing or it's a bad thing? And my answer will be it depends on how it's going to be planned, because this is not only just private sector, this is also government coming in to increase both sides. Because if we leave the other side, the rural area, you'll find also we're going to have challenges, because we have seen that a lot of rural areas are feeding us. Those are the places that are feeding the city right now. So it's also something that needs to be managed by with strategy, but also by thinking twice, saying that okay, what are we going to do? Because there's also other ways you can create opportunities in rural areas where people can benefit from that and can also build the people around it. So it's something that needs to be strategic.
Yeah, I think I like that part. You pointing out strategy. Strategy is very important in anything at all you want to do. So I'm going to ask this. I mean, it's a related question. So I want to say that from a development perspective, what major gaps are emerging because rural youth are actually living in large numbers. They are living in large numbers.
Yeah, as I mentioned, mostly when you look at the opportunities, you find that, of course, either the government is focusing on the cities. When we look at the opportunities, there are some of the major things that have to be created first. The infrastructure, the electricity, those are the things we call minor, but they are not minor when you look at it. So you find that the youth are coming in to find better opportunity and maybe safe space to see how best they can grow themselves. But I do believe that if the government also think about how they can create opportunities so that people can stay there, the youth can stay there, and create their own home areas. So I would also say that. As much as the youth right now is focusing on going in the city, you find that we are the rural area is losing talent, and that talent is what needed to be to create that rural area to become itself as a city or the next city, or to become the next thing on agriculture or agribusiness. So I do believe, as I mentioned, also finding the training that train people, but also government adding those things that are necessary, good infrastructure, the access of electricity, access of water, so that can give a safe space for the young generation to say, you know what, maybe I can create new opportunity here. Maybe I can add value on this area. Maybe it's coffee. Maybe I can create a next factory tomorrow. So it's also something that the government needs to think about and say, how best can we create opportunity for everyone around the country instead of focusing it in the cities like Abuja, Lagos, or Kampala and Kigali.
Oh, thank you so much. I like that part because while you were addressing this topic in my head, I was already thinking, so So should it be just the cities that should be developed? So is it important, is it necessary that the youth from the rural area should be moving out from their areas to the cities? Can't the rural areas itself be developed? I mean, I think that's the area you have just addressed anyway. So we want to move to the next phase, and I want to talk about the interstate and regional mobility. How significant is interstate trade, employment affecting the people?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question because um, you see, in life, this is what we are supposed to do. We are supposed to either to go to school, get a degree, then look for a job. Others are supposed to study, then create a business and hire people. So for those, everything that I'm talking about, you find that the problem that is here right now is that we have a lot of young population that have finished to study. They have the degrees that the system has asked them to get, but they don't have a job. So which gives them a pressure to say, how best can I live? So you find a lot of people actually they are moving. 50% of the people who move in rural area, they move because they are looking for self space, but also they are looking for a better opportunity for work. And I think, in my perspective, I do believe investors. This is the time for investors and businesses to start thinking about how best they can create solution for this problem. Because the more talent we lose from rural area, the more those places are going to leave behind. Let's be honest, the whole country can live in one city. We have to find a way to create more opportunities in rural areas. Where we provide training, where we create more opportunities. I do believe we can also think about putting the industrial areas in rural areas so that the people who are in those areas, they can get opportunities, and also the scale of the businesses that we can create. There are many businesses that we can create that can be offered from those areas where they not necessarily have to be in the city.
So we'll see that the cities are well connected. They have what it takes. Internet, the speed is high. But when you move to some certain rural areas, you see that it is not the same. You struggle with all of this. I mean, do you think, I mean, it's part of the development we are talking about, but to what extent do you think importance should be attached to this? Because you could be in the rural area and you are connecting, which is already happening. You're connecting all over the world, but we are talking about having almost the same pace, be at the same level. What is your position when it comes to this?
So I do believe also that's one of the points that a lot of investors are missing out. But also, in my perspective, I will say that it's because of lack of competition. We will find that the people who are more of internet side are few, one or two. In East Africa, I do believe that we have Airtel and MTN. Other Those are the competitors that we have right now, and you find that mostly they are going to focus on the city based on things that they call the research. That those are where many people can access the internet, but mostly they are looking for they're doing the research on money perspective, where they say these are the only people who can afford it. I do believe by adding more competition, but also people to go outside there and say, you know what, I'm going to make more affordable internet access to everyone, and that will also force other competition which have been in the line of this business to also think about, you know what, we are not alone, other people are coming to compete with us, we have to do something. So I do believe it's more of a investment opportunities for someone who is listening. We have a lot of, not only in Nigeria, even in Africa, you find that a lot of rural areas, they are lacking a lot of internet. There's no electricity, there is no water, which is affecting people to say this is not a safe space for me to stay in. So I do believe also that's also a gap for investors to come in and create more competition. That will also help.
Let's talk about the things you find in this rural area. For example, the agricultural produce. You see that most of the things that have been moved from the rural areas, I mean, that they move to the cities are from the rural areas. You talk about the fruits that we eat, rice and all of them put together. They bring them from this area. Is there is that a pattern that should keep going ahead? That should be a normal thing. Of course, it's a norm. It's a norm at the moment. If you look at it, that things are being moved from rural to city. Is it not possible that development comes to that rural areas? While you do those things, they become a major business. Not that you now move them from rural to the cities and the main business are not happening in the cities. And that's where you see the big money. You know, something you buy for perhaps 10 naira for one. Of course, you're going to buy in bulk. You are buying like 10 naira for one in the rural area. When it gets to the city, you are probably selling for 100 naira per one. Can those rural area be a major, business environment as well? But I think you have something to say. If you have something to say to this, can you please chip it in before we move to the next question?
Okay, thank you so much. That's a good question also, because when you look at it, that's a market chain. But you find that people who are doing the big job are the one who are paid less. And let's be honest, we find that someone who is buying a pack of coffee at maybe $10, you find it from the village at around $2, and that person, they have added their power, they have made losses, but those things are not accounted because of the market chain. But if you ask me what's the best way to solve that, I will immediately tell you is one, to make sure we don't supply raw materials. If everything can be done in the village, that's what I mentioned. Those industries should be in those rural areas where everything is coming from the farmer to the industrial area where that farmer is, so that they can at least benefit, not only benefit from their labor, but also they benefit from their children working from those industrial areas. So I do believe when we focus also on creating opportunities there, one of the things that like coffee, like cocoa, those things which are already going in and outside the market, we can really try to make sure those things can be supplied uh, as it's done, it's packaged, it has come from the industrial, it's well packaged, and it is taken to the city or outside the country as a package. So there the people are going to benefit from it. But when you talk about bringing things from the rural area and you're bringing them in the city, there's transportation that has been added there, there is a lot that has been covered, so the money is going to increase, and you find that the people who are suffering from that are people who are doing a lot of job down there, and there's no way they can negotiate, because the market chain also has to make sure uh, everyone is benefiting. But let's ask ourselves, who are benefiting more? Are that the people who are working so hard to make sure they give us the product, or the people who are doing the final product? So we need also to question that and make sure we create opportunity on the ground where we find everything there. If you are going to the rural area and you're going to buy a coffee, let's bring a packed coffee and you buy it from there.
Now, I want to ask you, in your work across East and West Africa, how do regional blocs like the EAC or ECOWAS influence internal mobility?
Um, so it's a big thing, because when you look at it, when I speak from East Africa, you find over 300 million USD has been made in around East Africa, in the exchange of goods, in the exchange of uh, skills, because people move one country to another. But most importantly, it has also helped the markets. People are benefiting from it, because we're not now speaking as one entity. We are speaking as 7 countries that are in East Africa. So for businesses and entrepreneurs, it has been a much easier opportunity for them, because they have a huge market. And it's the same as West Africa, where we find that it's now easier to go from Nigeria to Ghana. It's easier now to come from Nigeria to Senegal. All those are the opportunities are created for entrepreneurs, but also the people who live in, they easily access other market goods. So it's no longer an issue that one country doesn't have a soil to create maybe rice. We will get the rice from Tanzania to Rwanda. We'll get the rice from Uganda to Tanzania. So it's a good opportunity for the market and also for the growth of the economy of Africa.
Okay, so thank you. I think we're still looking at the same area at this point. So I want us to speak to economic impact and investment lens as an investment connector. How does internal migration shape investor interest in infrastructure, in housing, or urban development?
Hmm. So, as an investor, that's a very good question because uh, the cities. It's not. It's run by the people. It's not just the building and all that. So when we see a lot of people coming from one country to another or one city to another, that's a very good now opportunity for businesses. Because now, if there's a hospital I needed, are going to be it's going to be opportunity. If the numbers are increasing, means the housing rent is going to also to increase, but also the building and development of those houses is going also to increase. The opportunities and the services are also going to increase. So mostly it's a good opportunity for investors and also for the countries because as you know that the problems are going to always be solved by entrepreneurs. So meaning where we see the gap, we find a lot of investors and entrepreneurs coming together and say there's a gap here, there's a gap on housing, let's develop housing. So the real estate is increasing. That's why we see every time 10 over 10% of increase every year on real estate market. So those numbers are always going to be there because of the opportunities of those people coming from rural areas and also other countries. And also we benefit as a country for more skills. We have more skills people coming to the city and also solving more problems. Um, we benefit from strong people coming together again and say let's create more opportunities for other people to come in and also work together, and those are the business that have been created. So I do believe it's also a good opportunity for the cities, and that's why we have, as I mentioned, a lot of countries are also adding more cities because they have seen the opportunity that comes with that.
I think I mentioned that I want us to talk about the ease of doing business within, around cities, city to city, the ease of doing business. Because this is your area, you work within Africa, you connect, investors and all of that together. Can you tell us how much would you say that it is very convenient, business is really flowing well within cities that you have experienced? Please talk to us.
Oh, thank you so much. Some of the business are doing well because of when you look at the numbers of the people. So when you are creating a business, it's always about the people because we're creating businesses for the people. But when you look at it, we find that right now real estate is a booming sector, especially commercial real estate, because we need more working space. A lot of people are creating jobs, they are creating opportunities, so they will need a place where they can work. We are also looking at middle class area commercial real estate, where we find that a lot of African people are majorly middle class areas, are middle class people. So the affordability of the housing, when you compare to high class and middle class, you find a lot of middle class. It's also a good opportunity in real estate. Again, industrial. Africa is rich as itself. When it comes to natural resources, when it comes to our soil, we have a lot of opportunity there. So when you look at industrial area, it's growing so fast, as much as a lot of countries in Africa have said no to raw materials in in supply chain, especially on our outside borders. So that is creating a lot of investment opportunity, but also opportunity on the ground. And of course, the other things that are going to come in inside out, where you find tomorrow one country, for example, like Uganda, found oil recently, it's still been worked on. So that's also an opportunity because right now Hoima is also another city because of that. So it also depends on what is trending, but most importantly, when it comes to the city, it's always about the people and the hospitals, the education, the schools. So it's based on the people, but I would say those five major things that are creating opportunity in the city area.
We are talking business, we are also talking the people that are involved, because it is the people that actually carry out these businesses. And there needs to be integration, there needs to be some sort of cultural acceptance, maybe yes, maybe no. So because you have you've moved around countries, you can tell if there is this acceptance, cultural integration, understanding your country, me understanding your country, or even as cities, there are things, there are differences. There are things you would see, you can identify that this person is from this city and this person is from this city. So maybe you just call them norms and just some cultural, exhibition. So would you say that agreement is there? Would you say that unity is there, that conformment is there, while the business itself is flowing?
Yes, of course, I'll be honest as a human. Some of the challenges are going to always be there because let's also be honest, you find that within Africa, we are still fighting for small things. And also the mindset, also, I'll be honest with you, African mindset have changed. Sometimes I will go to one country to another and someone will not even recognize where I'm coming from. So, which is a good thing because the mindset has changed. We have started seeing ourselves as one, and the more we see ourselves as a unit, the more outsiders will not come into to inside to us. So of course there are some challenges worldwide where you find that there are small circle where they focus on the identity of someone, but when you look at it, I'm really happy. I'm really happy, honestly, to see where the level of the mindset of African people and also how they are thinking right now.
Okay, that's great. It's good to know that we've made a lot of improvement. Of course, I know that every day things are changing, we are evolving, but it's good to know again for someone like you who moves from country to country to know that the improvement is actually significant. So I want to ask you, do you see internal migration, this very key topic, do you see internal migration strengthening Africa's labor market, or it is widening inequalities between rural and urban region? I think it's actually related to what you have said, but away from that, can you speak to it?
Now, what I would say is one, we need to make sure we do have a plan because some of the countries, as much as they are moving so fast, they don't have a plan and a strategy, which means people wake up in the morning and do whatever they want, which is a big problem right now, especially when it comes to real estate and also infrastructure. Someone just wake up and build whatever they want. But the question is, where is the vision of those cities? Where is the plan of those cities? What are we creating in 10 years, 20 years for the people? Because we make sure whatever we are doing it for the people. So it's all about the government and also the private sector to come together and say, you know what, this is the vision of this city and this is how it is going to be planned. But also we should not forget where the rural areas, because it's so also important as much as the city are there, because the rural areas, I do believe they also other businesses, other women who can start young, I would say small businesses there. There are other opportunities that can be created, industrials. There are many opportunities can be created where we find ourselves coming together as a chain, where we are helping each other than aparting each other, because we all need each other. We need the rural area for food, we need the city for the money. So both sides are needed. It's a plan that needs to be created by strategy and the system.
So planning and strategy, I think we've kept hammering on strategy, and that's to say that it's important. Strategy is important in any field, whatever you do. So now we want to look at this very question, and I think from here we'll be moving a bit to that gender aspect. I want to ask you, you agree with me? I mean, it's something that we know people move for different reasons. It could be for housing reasons, probably bad water, healthcare security, and a whole lot, or more knowledge and that. However, I want to ask, what pressure do cities face when large population migrates suddenly? What are challenges do city or pressure do city face when large population migrates suddenly? What do you think?
So I would say the challenges are always going to be there if we have not planned for the cities, as I said. But mostly the challenges that we are going to have is that we are going to find that everyone wants to come to the city, but the question is, what are they going to come to do? And most of the time, if we have a lot of unemployed people living in the city, now that's when you are going to find, okay, now I can't find a job. Let me create my own job. Let me start stealing. Let me do things that are not appropriate. So the I feel like the growth of the city there is no problem, but if we don't plan perfectly, where we make sure that everyone who is either in an urban center or in the city are feeling safe enough to stay there, that will be a problem. I do believe that it has to be a, as I mentioned, a system where we find that we are creating a city for the people, but also we are advancing those cities. I also mentioned about other countries who are creating cities. It's a trend right now in African country, and what the reason why they are doing it is also to prevent uh, those issues where everyone needs to come in one city. So they also need of also creating other cities in even in urban areas. We can always create small cities in urban areas where even those people who are the neighbor of that small city can create opportunity but also can benefit from there. So the challenges can be prevented if we are smart enough, but we need also to think twice on in every strategy that we are creating to make sure we don't uh, create problems instead of creating solutions.
So, we've talked about youth earlier. You talked about creating opportunities for the youth and all of that. So, we also want to talk about the women now because me as a person, if you ask me, most times when you go out, I get to see women, 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 in that area. You get to see women, women. You go to the market and all of that. You see more of women than men. That's what I'm saying. And some people also believe that this is how it works. But now let's have you speak to it. So, what is your position, about the share of women in internal migration flow currently? Are we witnessing what scholars call a feminization of internal migration?
So I would start thanking women right now in Africa because every day they're amazing me. The mindset have changed from saying that I can depend everything to a man, which is there's nothing wrong with that. But I do believe in unity, but I also believe that women will have much we can provide. And I've seen much women saying, you know what, this is what we are going to create. I've seen a lot of women creating opportunities either in the city or urban area. I've seen women starting a small business. I've seen those businesses growing, and I've seen them now becoming a huge opportunity for many people. As it's me and you right now, where we're talking right now, this is also opportunity to also change the mindset and for the women. And I do believe if they are looking at this, I they shouldn't fear because women have managed to move up and down, and I'm seeing that women are really creating massive opportunity in Africa, and they're the mother of Africa. So there's a lot to do as women, but most importantly, when it comes to immigration, they are moving and they are creating opportunities for their children. They are moving to look for better schools for their children. They are sacrificing a lot to make sure we live a happy and beautiful life as women, but also as a mother and as wives and as as women. We have massive opportunity we need to create. We are creative as we are, but we need also to force ourselves to go out there and to create more opportunities for us.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Tuesday was the International Day of Eradication of Violence against women. And so I just want to bring this in a bit because it is still the week. So, do you see this torso or kind of challenge in that space where you see probably the women being put aside or saying, "Oh no, because we are the men." I'm not speaking, putting words in your mouth now. I'm just asking in that space because you are there. Do they have the same opportunity? Women, men, everybody just do their thing, or the way we see it in some areas, where even in some homes where men would say, "Oh, I am the head of the house, and all of that. We see the same replicated in this business environment.
I would say it depends on the country. As much as I've moved some of the countries in Africa, some of the countries, it's still a challenge, which is bad and it's a shame because you find that women are still taken as people who stay home and do the home things. And you find also other countries, especially I would say in Rwanda, in also Nigeria, you will find that those countries have managed to create opportunities for both women and men. They don't really say it's a woman. We have seen that a lot of in East Africa, when you look at Uganda and Rwanda, a half or more than parliamentary seats right now are women who sitting in parliament. We have seen that women are becoming ministers. Mostly, we have seen that women are becoming president. I would say Namibia. We can talk about Tanzania here, and all those are women who are doing amazing things. So some of the country they have managed to create opportunities for women without saying you are a woman, but others are still struggling, which is making those women feel uncomfortable, feel unsafe, but also feel, of course, depression and anxiety when you feel you are not enough, or when someone is telling every day you are not enough. Those issues, mental issues, comes in. But I do believe we'll get there. But we need to put a lot of work in changing the mindset of women to understand that women are built for more than we can imagine.
Mm. All right, thank you. So let me quickly move to this. So there is a school of thought that many women who migrate internally end up in the informal market, such as domestic help, market trade, street vending, informal transport, rather than formal employment. I mentioned earlier that I see women move around, in the marketplace and all of that. What's your own position? I see. I don't know if that's just what I see. That's one opinion which I don't even have here. I don't even have an opinion here. So I'm just asking you as an expert and someone who have moved around, what is your own position about this?
Yeah, it's true that a lot of women, I feel also this is also an issue of a mindset of a women that we have, and also we need to change. You find a lot of women when they are speaking to themselves, they think they deserve less. So as much as there's nothing wrong to be a househelp, but there's something good to be a CEO. There's something good to be sitting on another chair that is bigger. So it's also that, in my perspective, start with us where we look at ourselves and say, we need more, we deserve more. So some of the challenges, as you mentioned, yes, you find a lot of women doing housework. You find the women, a lot of women in the markets, small markets on the ground. But what I've seen, but also is now the generation. The generation is changing. The first generation, of course, those are our mothers who have been working so hard to make sure they can put the food on the table. They had to do everything they can. Some of them, they didn't go to school. Others, they went to school, but they stopped in the middle. So the generation are changing now. Another generation which is coming, they understand themselves. They understand they deserve more. They also have changed the mindset to say that I can create more for me, but for other people. So I'm also appreciate women who are starting businesses, who are creating opportunities for others. But also, it's not about also changing a business, or sorry, to start a business. It's also another way form of telling someone you can do more. Look at me, I tried as a woman. You can also do more if you trust yourself and also believe in yourself. I also need women to create more trainings, the a gathering of events that makes us gather together so we can speak to ourselves, each other, to see what's working, what's not working, how best can we increase more women in the field work, in creating new businesses, new opportunities, entering in the government and sitting on the chairs of ministers. But so far I would say I'm happy of how we are growing. I will not complain, but I also say that women, we need to change our mindset to understand that we believe more than we can imagine. And we need to move our fears and start going there and compete. There's nothing wrong to compete. There is always opportunity when you compete with others.
Thank you very much. I think I like that submission. Again, a lot of people would say there are challenges, there are barriers. So I want to ask, do you see things like documentation, social norms, safety concerns as structural or systemic barrier when it comes to migration? And again, is one gender more affected than the other?
Yeah, yes, I've had you. Of course, naturally you find that men are risk takers. So that is in their nature. They wake up in the morning and they make a decision. They say, let me go to another country to find opportunities. Of course, when you look at socially and also economically, we both genders are needed. Either women or men are needed to increase the increase of businesses, the opportunities are needed there. It doesn't matter which gender right now. But what I would say is that you find a lot of men are more active. I would say that they will take risk and move to one country to another, or they will move one rural area to the city. They are also moving, trying to create more opportunities for themselves and for the whole economy and the market. So for me, I would say, as a woman, I would say let us also compete. As I mentioned, there's nothing wrong to compete. We need to go there, outside there. There are many opportunities. There are many problems in Africa that need solutions. I am a believer that everything that we create has to find a problem, then we create a solution there. As we mentioned, a lot of areas where we need a lot of solutions in rural area. We can also start from there. We can start by building a small business. We can start by creating small factory for maize. We can start creating small things that can make people stay there. But most importantly, I also advise governments and our people who are leading us to make sure they think twice in whatever they are doing, because also we need youth and strong generation to stay in the rural areas, because the rural areas is feeding the city, is also feeding other cities outside Africa. Yeah, thank you so much. I would say that the shift has happened not necessarily in Kampala or Uganda. The shift has happened in East Africa. A lot of East African countries are more united as more than before, but also there is a plan. I do believe that the plan is to build the better cities for people, but also creating opportunities for those people. And I think. The system here that has the mindset of people has also managed to change. The traveling also helps. When I move from here and go to Nigeria and see the speed, and I see how people are really working hard, I get jealous and come back here and say, you know what, I need to move forward with speed and also the passion, because I do believe also in East Africa, the competition between each country, and in good way, by the way, it has also forced people to work hard, and infrastructure now. It's there. You find that they are trying their best to make sure they create the roads for. They are creating opportunities for uh, the electricity, internet, all those things. When they come together, they create a safe space for someone to come in and say, let me stay in this city. So I do believe that everything where we are heading, and the plan and the future of Africa and East Africa, as more much I stay here, it's on right hand. It's on right hand, but I also believe that as much as we travel and we look at other cities, it's motivating us to understand what is missing there. What can I pick here and take it home? Those are also some of the things that we also need to watch out, but also to look at, and we say, you know what, let's create opportunities for ourselves. Let's come together as a unit, as Africa, and also let's create systems. There are things we still have as a barrier. You find the transportation just from here to Uganda is expensive than moving here to Europe. So those are also challenges that we're having, but also coming together as the government to say how best they can create transportation to be much cheaper and much easier. Uh, that also comes in for infrastructure. There are still gaps that are still there, but I also believe that as African, as an East African, also person who lives in Uganda, I believe we are still there. We're getting there soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lailla Mutajogera, for your time and your insights on the topic international migration in Africa, economic driver or social development gap. I want to say a very big thank you. I want to say a very big thank you, honestly, for your time. And we'll be inviting you some other time. I'm sure you make yourself available again.